On August 11, 2014, Dallas firefighters responded to a routine call, a dumpster fire, in a quiet, upscale neighborhood. They were met with gunfire from an AK-47. By the time it was over, a 60-year-old man had declared himself the founder of his own nation. He'd called 911 to explain it personally, and somehow, remarkably, not a single person had been physically hurt.
Douglas Lee Legan lived a quiet life in Corinth, Texas. No criminal record, no history with local police. But by the summer of 2014, his family was worried. He hadn't shown up for work. His wife told police he'd become depressed. She said he'd been watching Al Jazeera constantly, that he'd told friends he wanted to start his own country, and that an AK-47, several rounds of ammunition, and multiple bottles of propane were missing from their home. Corinth police had never dealt with Legan before. That combination of details was enough to make them very concerned, very quickly. Legan had traveled to a gated neighborhood in far north Dallas and moved into a house that wasn't his. Inside that house was a babysitter, watching an 8-year-old girl. Legan threatened them both. Then he set a dumpster on fire outside and waited. He'd already decided what the house was going to become, the territory of a new one-man nation. He would later give it a name, Doug E. Stan. The fire wasn't an accident, it was bait. Dallas firefighters arrived to put out what looked like a simple dumpster fire. Legan opened fire on them with his AK-47. 2 bullets struck the fire truck itself, with crew still inside. Nobody was hit, but the call for help brought exactly what Legan seemed to be waiting for. Dallas SWAT and a small army of police officers descending on the neighborhood. He kept firing. Investigators would later find propane tank explosives scattered around the property. Some detonated, some later defused by a hazmat team. Inside the house, SWAT managed to get the babysitter and the 8-year-old girl out safely. Outside, the standoff was just getting started. At some point during the standoff, while he was still actively exchanging gunfire with police, Legan slipped into nearby woods and called 911. He introduced himself as Dougie Doug, representative of a new nation called Doug E. Stan. He told the dispatcher he was tired of America. He complained specifically about police shooting the mentally handicapped. When the call taker asked if he'd ever been diagnosed with anything, Legan's answer was immediate. A clear mind, he said, and a full heart. The standoff stretched on for roughly 2 hours. Eventually, negotiators reached him, and Legan surrendered without further shots fired. He was charged with 7 counts of aggravated assault against a public servant. Bail was set at $350,000. A major crimes investigator who'd worked the case for over 3 decades gave reporters a 2-word review of the whole afternoon. Somewhat surreal. From inside the Dallas County Jail, Legan gave an interview. He was, by his own account, sorry. Did any bullets hit anybody that day, he asked rhetorically, then answered himself, "I know." He said there hadn't been any other way to get his message heard, that anything less than what he'd done would have been, in his words, or a blip on the screen. A psychologist asked to comment on the case didn't mince words. Using violence to deliver a message, she said, discredits that message from the very first shot. His wife had told police he'd been depressed in the weeks before. In jail, Legan denied it, said he was perfectly sane. Media outlets quickly tied him to the sovereign citizen movement, the same ideology behind several of the more violent cases in the series. But at least one researcher who studies the movement closely found something more complicated. By her own criteria, Legan's actual rhetoric only matched 2 of the markers she uses to identify genuine sovereign citizen belief. Whether Douglas Legan was a true believer in a fringe ideology, a man in the middle of a mental health crisis, or something in between was never fully settled. What is certain is simpler. A man declared his own nation, opened fire on the people who came to help him, and somehow, by pure chance, nobody paid for it with their life. Not every case in this series ends in tragedy. This one almost accidentally didn't.